The compact SUV market in India has been on a boil for the last few years. In fact, you as a buyer, you have 7 different options to pick from. But if there are 2 SUVs that seem to justify the SUV tag properly, they have to be the Ford EcoSport and the Tata Nexon. Now, both these SUVs are different from the other crop of compact SUVs in the way they look, the stance and the feel from the driver's seat. So if you're in the market for a 8 to 11 lakh rupee compact SUV, which one should you pick? The good old Ford EcoSport or the new refreshed Tata Nexon? Well, I urge you to stay on for the entire video. It's going to be a long video, but trust me, in the end, you will definitely understand our verdict on this comparison. Now, before we move further with the video, let's quickly talk about the pricing part and the cost of ownership factor. Now, this is something that most reviews will tell you in the end, but I think it's very important for a typical prospective customer like you. That said, you and I, we both know more and more people are inclined towards going for the higher versions, for the fully loaded top-end versions. And this is where I was actually in for a surprise. The fully loaded, sexier looking EcoSport S Diesel, well, this is actually cheaper than the top-end Nexon diesel manual. Yes, if you're spending a lot of money for the higher versions, this is more affordable on the diesel front. Now, in terms of automatics, the Nexon has the low-cost AMT with both the petrol and the diesel. The EcoSport does not offer you AMT or an automatic with the diesel, but for the petrol, you have a lovely 6-speed torque converter, which fares much better in urban conditions as compared to the AMT on the Nexon. Now, in terms of your after-sales experience, you get the car home, what happens next? Well, this is where I think Ford has done a good job. Your peace of mind factor, the warranty factor, well, the EcoSport offers you a 3-year warranty as standard as compared to only 2 years on the Nexon. So that's approximately 50% longer duration warranty on the EcoSport. Furthermore, Ford is very vocal, they're very transparent about the cost of servicing. In fact, it's called the Ford Promise. You can go to the website to check the service cost for the EcoSport. The link to that is currently in the description section below. So as an owner, you can go to the website, you can check out the service cost depending upon the interval or the fuel type you have for the EcoSport, and that is exactly the money you will pay at the workshop level. So this is something, the transparency is something missing from Tata for the Nexon. Plus, the actual cost of maintenance is actually very low for the EcoSport. For example, for the petrol version, for the 80,000 service or the 1 lakh service, you will be spending only 3,760 rupees for the EcoSport. This is something missing on the Nexon. So I think the cost of maintenance and the warranty factor is going to be a crucial deciding factor for a lot of people.
And if you ask us about the resale value, the EcoSport definitely has a lower depreciation in the pre-owned space. We checked out both Cars24 and Orange Book Value, and both the websites indicated a 20% higher resale value for the Ford compact SUV. Do check that out yourself at a later stage.
Plus, one more thing. Now, Ford often has these TVCs, these ads running about the family wali feeling, and this is actually true. Ford goes out of the way to actually support customer groups on social media, from your factory visits to your group drives and a lot more. So this is something Ford has been doing for a long time with the EcoSport owners, and definitely gives the customers a much livelier relationship with the company and other EcoSport owners. Now, the EcoSport was the one that started the trend of compact SUVs years back in India, and even today in 2020, I think it still looks fresh. The talking point over here has to be the rear boot mounted spare wheel. That, in my opinion, gives it a proper SUV stance. It's also taller and slightly longer than the Nexon over here. The Nexon, this one got a major facelift in terms of the design just a few months back. It looks fresh, it is wider as well, but this one I think will be those for who want a timeless design with the SUV appeal at the back, and this one for those who want a funky, muscular SUV. Either ways, you will not be disappointed. Both the SUVs, they offer you a petrol and a diesel with the Nexon and petrol diesel with the EcoSport over here. the Nexon first. Now this one, the petrol is a 1.2 liter turbocharged unit as compared to a naturally aspirated 1.5 on the EcoSport. So yes, in terms of displacement, this one is a bigger engine. Also, it generates approximately 3 PS of more power, 123 PS as compared to 120 on the Nexon. Also, because it's a larger motor with extra power in terms of your outright acceleration, this one is still quicker than the Nexon. No doubt for the economy conscious buyer, kitna deti hai, this is more efficient, plus it's a 6-speed manual on this one. It's more efficient than the 1.5 on this one. But if you are a city dweller, you want an automatic, no two ways about it, the 6-speed automatic on the EcoSport Petrol is way better than the AMT on the Nexon. And for those who are diesel lovers, there is good news. Both the engines over here, they are large capacity 1.5 liter turbocharged diesel engines. The Nexon offers you more power, it offers you more torque. This one again isn't bad either, but the talking point with the EcoSport has to do with the NVH levels. On the move, you simply can't make it's a diesel engine. The NVH levels are that good. So yes, for outright punch and acceleration, this might excite you, but as a daily drive, this one will keep you happy on the inside because it's smoother, it's much smoother than the Nexon offering. Now on the safety parameter, the Nexon will, this one comes to you with a 5-star NCAP rating. So that's a very good reassuring factor for owners. But this one, the EcoSport, this is the heaviest compact SUV in India, and on the move you definitely feel cocooned in a good way. It also has more safety features. 2 airbag versus 6 on this one. Yes, you do have side and curtain airbags in the EcoSport S. And then you also have something called as the emergency assistance. For example, if something happens in the unfortunate case of the car going into a crash, the system on the inside will automatically call your near ones. It will also call for assistance. So yes, emergency assistance, 6 airbags, and of course, speed limiter in this one is also offered as standard. So these things in terms of safety features can make this feel more safer than the Nexon, which is not bad at all. It's a 5-star NCAP rating, but yes, features do matter for a lot of people. And the interiors of the EcoSport first. Now, when the car was launched over the years, the EcoSport made sure it created a benchmark in this segment in terms of the fit and finish on the inside. The interiors definitely give you a premium feel, which is definitely missing on some of the other compact SUVs in the market. We are in the EcoSport S version. This is the range topping version, which looks different on the outside and slightly different on the inside. As you can see, you have contrast finish on the seats, contrast stitching on the seats over here. This color also on different panels around the fascia, and of course contrast stitching for the steering wheel cover. So this kind of a better looking or a sporty looking option is missing on the Nexon. You also have a Thunder edition in the EcoSport. So Thunder or the S is something you can opt for if you want a better looking EcoSport on the inside and on the outside. Now in terms of features, both the cars are neck to neck. They are definitely feature loaded, but some things, certain things are missing in the Nexon. In this one, in the EcoSport, I have an auto dimming mirror over here. I have a larger screen depending on the version you pick. The S1 has a 8-inch screen, the Nexon has a 7-inch screen. The other versions, the higher versions of the EcoSport have a 9-inch screen. So yes, the screen is definitely bigger on the EcoSport. Even the touch reception is good, better than the Nexon. That said, the audio quality, the thump, the bass is same on both the vehicles. Moving on the outside, in the S version, you also have HID lamps, which are basically better for your night driving. Now, in terms of fit and finish, as I told you, the EcoSport has been creating benchmarks in the segment. In the Nexon, I can still find a few rough edges around the gear lever and behind the steering wheel. But in the EcoSport, I have been trying hard for the last 10 minutes. I can still not find any rough edge over here. So definitely this is something that customers will feel happy after spending 10, 12, 13 lakh rupees on a car in terms of on-road pricing. Even the touch and feel of the knob, for example, these rotary buttons for the aircon, they just look and feel nice. The way they operate, they definitely feel slightly better than that of the Nexon. I will be going to the Nexon at a later stage, but in the EcoSport, currently the seat at the lowest height, I have approximately 2 inches of space left in spite of a sunroof. I can see the bonnet on the edges, and though the A-pillar is thick, with time you can get used to it. So overall visibility remains nice, and the premium factor is something that will definitely give a smile on the owner's face. The rear seat of the EcoSport. Now for starters, yes, the Nexon offers you more legroom at the back, more knee room at the back as compared to the EcoSport. But this one as a standalone car is not as bad as I thought it to be. The front seat is positioned for my height, 6 feet tall, and as you can see, I have about 2 inches of knee room left over here. I can take my feet under the front seat, and unlike the Nexon whose rear seat is actually placed low, this one is good. You still sit higher up. The window line comes to your shoulder level, so you don't feel claustrophobic. So yes, that is something that is going to be loved by EcoSport customers. Also, the rear window, it rolls down almost flat. The Nexons comes approximately over here, but this one rolls down completely flat. Again, we are in the S version, hence the contrast stitching on the seat over here and on the side door pads. A cool feature is that if you are sitting at the rear seat, you can put your phone on either sides of the rear bench, and there is also a charging outlet on the right side. It is much more accessible as compared to the one on the EcoSport, which is on the tray over here, but in this one it is much more accessible. Also, both the seats, they have a good scoop over here in the EcoSport, so that just adds to the sportiness. So that's about the interiors of the EcoSport. Definitely on the premium side, slightly more features, good fit and finish, and of course the boot space, well, this one is 352 liters, that one, the next one is 350 liters, so not much to choose. This one again, it has the spare on the boot, which looks better on the outside. And inside the cabin of the Nexon, immediately you know you're sitting slightly lower down in the Nexon. Everything is sort of around you as compared to the EcoSport. That is not a bad thing as such. In the update, you also have a fully DG console over here as compared to semi-DG on the EcoSport over there. Fit and finish, it has really improved over the first generation of Nexons. A couple of my friends, they have Nexon back home, and this one has definitely improved on that parameter. But yet, I know if I look closely, for example, this cover on the gear knob over here, behind the steering wheel, I can still find a few rough edges inside the Nexon. The steering wheel, by the way, in the EcoSport, that has both functions of tilt and telescope, but this one can only be taken up and down. So for a shorter driver, that is a better option. You can have a better adjustment on the inside in the EcoSport over there. This one, of course, gives you city, eco and sport mode driving modes. They are absent in the EcoSport, but in its benefit, all the buttons, the touch and feel, or the buttons, the buttons are either big in size, or the touch and feel or the buttons is definitely on the better side in the EcoSport. Both of these cars have a floating type of touchscreen, but of course, again, the EcoSport has a slightly bigger screen, 8 inches or 9 inches depending on the model you pick. This one is a 7 over here. In terms of comfort level, for an average Indian adult, both the seats in the Nexon and the EcoSport are good. But for a person of my height and my build, I think the back support and the under thigh support is slightly on the lesser side in the Nexon. Those seats in the EcoSport are larger, they are more supportive, they are more comfortable. In the EcoSport as well, I had positioned the seat to the lowest height. Even in this one, it is to the lowest setting, yes, right now, and I do have a similar amount of headroom. That one has a sunroof. This is not the higher version, so yes, if a sunroof comes in over here, I'll have an equal amount of headroom. So up front, things are very closely matched apart from a few features here and there, and the touch and feel, it is a close battle over here. Things at the back, let's go. The back seat of the Nexon definitely offers you more space over the EcoSport. A slight issue is that the seats are placed lower than that of the EcoSport, so for your parents or for the elderly, getting into this car might be an issue. But once here, yes, the amount of knee room with the front seat positioned for my height, the amount of leg room is definitely more than that of the EcoSport. Also in this one, if you see, if I take my head back, this thing intrudes into my vision. This thing is not there in the EcoSport. The vision for the rear passengers is completely clear, unobstructive in the EcoSport, but in this one, this definitely hampers my vision on the outside. The driving part, the Tata Nexon first. Tata has really made advancements in terms of the 1.2 turbo petrol. With the facelift of the Nexon, even the power figures went up, so that is a good point. But of course, no replacement for displacement. The 1.5 on the EcoSport, it's a larger motor and definitely 123 PS. They feel faster as compared to the Nexon. I think you can hear that. So the 3-cylinder gruffness, the vibrations, the traditional harshness from the engine in the Nexon, still remains in that regard. The EcoSport, again, that's a 3-cylinder, but just feels better. Of course, the diesel Nexon is a better pick. It's far more efficient, it's far more punchier, good amount of torque also coming in, and for those who have a lot of driving to do, that can be a good pick. The sound damping on the inside for the outside world in both the cars is phenomenal. Both Tata and Ford have done a tremendous job in keeping the outside noise away. But in traffic, powering out, the engine vibrations in the Nexon are still not a match for the EcoSport. Ditto for the way the EcoSport behaves from a driver's perspective. I'm coming around a roundabout. Body roll on the Nexon is still more than the EcoSport. EcoSport dynamically from a driver's perspective, for that thrill and joy of driving, I think still remains a better pick over the Nexon. Also, the ride quality of the Nexon is definitely good. It's a highlight, but at higher speeds there is an underlying bounciness, I would say. We faced that in the morning. We were on the expressway at higher speeds, and the EcoSport just felt slightly better planted. There were less vertical movements than the Nexon. In terms of the steering feedback, well, in the Nexon it is good, but as a standalone car it is definitely good. But if you factor in the EcoSport, I think the Ford offering has time and again proved its worth for drivers. It is a driver's delight. It is a better product if you just want sheer driving thrills, driving pleasure. I think it's still very hard to find a fault with the EcoSport in that regard. Now at lower speeds, at parking speeds, for example, if I just come to a standstill, the amount of effort required in the Nexon, no, it's not bad at all. Also at really low speeds in traffic, when you are at 20-25 in the third gear, picking up speeds in the Nexon definitely send jerks and vibrations from the gear lever, from the floor over here. But if you do the same thing in the EcoSport, be it the diesel EcoSport or the petrol EcoSport, you slow down and you pick up speeds, the EcoSport just feels a lot better, more mature, smoother, vibration free. So I think this thing is still very much an issue with the Nexon.
Before I get to the Ford EcoSport, let me add that while the Nexon has a 44-litre fuel tank capacity, the EcoSport offers an 18% larger tank capacity of 52 litres.
And now in the EcoSport, this one immediately feels more airier. I don't know why. For a driver's perspective, this feels more airier, and as you can see, even the frame as well feels and looks wider, right, on the inside. Anyways, yep. So what immediately strikes you is the right balance of richness on the inside, the NVH levels, the smoothness on the inside, be the 1.5 petrol or the diesel 1.5. Vibrations, harshness, they are really kept at bay inside the EcoSport as compared to that of the Nexon. I'll give an example. I'll slow down for a speed breaker over here. I'll shift into the third gear. I'm at 25 kmph, and it picks up speeds without any protest. In the Nexon, there are mild vibrations and harshness and roughness creeping into the cabin, but this rough thing of the Nexon stays with the Nexon. It is not there in the EcoSport. High-speed manners, no two ways about it. It's got a longer wheelbase as well. It just feels better planted with less vertical movements, especially over undulations. With time, Ford has shifted back to 16-inch alloy wheels for the top-end S version, and these make a world of difference to the ride quality. Of course, these bumps, speed breakers, they are taken well care of, as good as the Nexon. So ride quality of the EcoSport is right there with that of the Nexon, but high-speed manners is what makes a big difference in my opinion. If you want, if you're someone who wants driving pleasure, you want a good, fun to drive, dynamically sorted SUV, I think the EcoSport still makes a very strong case in front of the Nexon. I'll come to the same roundabout where I had the Nexon a while back. I'll again try to attack it at the same amount of speed. bump coming in, overtaking a car, outer line. It's better. It's better than that of the Nexon, including the body roll. The Nexon on the same curve had more body roll than that of the EcoSport. Another sharp speed breaker. So yes, comfort is sorted, but what takes the cake away for the EcoSport has to be the driving factor. Ford cars are always known to handle well. This one is no different. NVH levels, insulation. It's a good car. It's a good car. In terms of kitna deti hai factor, well, we did a fuel economy run with the diesel EcoSport. It's currently on the channel. The link to that is right now on the screen. The 5-speed manual diesel around 85-90 kmph on the highway. For a highway run, we actually got a genuine 26 plus on a tank full to tank full basis. With the EcoSport, it really did surprise us. In terms of outright performance, the 1.2 petrol of the Nexon versus the 1.5 petrol of the EcoSport, this one has slightly more power, also quicker and flatter acceleration. Likewise, I was not expecting, but the diesel EcoSport, in spite of being short on power and torque, is not a slow mover at all. Given the roads, it will actually do 180 on the speedometer, so that is a good point. Before I end the driving part, just want to show you how enjoyable the EcoSport actually turns out to be. No drama, nothing. Even the body roll, that's really well controlled. Once more, this is a slalom of sorts. I'm happy with this one. And finally, our verdict on this important detailed comparison between the Tata Nexon and the Ford EcoSport. If you are still watching this video, I'm sure you have a hint about the winner of our comparison. The Nexon first. Now, this is a lovely all-rounder product from Tata Motors. I would even say this is the best ever Tata car for the Indian car market. Good space on the inside, cost-cutting AMT for the petrol and the diesel versions, and if you're short on budget, the lower versions of the Nexon, they will keep you happy. On the other hand, the Ford EcoSport. Now, this one has been in the Indian car market for a lot of years, and yet this one does not feel bland or boring or outdated or out of place in the ever competitive sub-4 meter compact SUV market. If you're going to be spending 10-12 lakh rupees for a car in terms of the on-road pricing, I am sure you want a premium feel on the inside, and this one delivers that. The fit and finish, the overall feel on the inside, well, that is unmatched. And once you start driving the car, I would still say the pleasure of driving in the EcoSport is unmatched. So I think all these factors combined together, including the cost of ownership factor, I would still say if you're in the market for a 8 to 12 lakh rupee compact SUV, you should still consider the EcoSport over other rivals in the market.